So it seems like the job market is looking worse and worse, and we have a bunch of new statistics that have come out this year that exemplify that. So obviously, one of the biggest concerns that has grown over the past few years is AI replacing jobs, and Google, of course, being on the forefront of creating one of the top LLMs in AI, which is Gemini, and all these other AI tools they keep unveiling as well. Well, they have actually eliminated 35% of managers overseeing small teams in the past year. So many people are worried about them replacing, if you think of a job or a company as a pyramid, at the top you have the owner or the CEO, and at the bottom you have the entry level workers or the jobs that don't require as many qualifications. So a lot of people thought, that bottom layer of the pyramid is what would get replaced first. So the problem is now, instead of just AI threatening this lower level of the pyramid, you have, these bottom 2 or 3 layers that could be eliminated, or at least partially eliminated. And we're starting with some of the big tech companies already. So you look at manager, usually kind of a mid-level, depending on how big the team is, but we're working the way up the chain in terms of what AI is replacing. They even said right here, when we look across the entire leadership population, that's managers, directors, and VPs, we want them to be a smaller percentage of the overall workforce over time. Again, further evidence that this could keep working its way up the ladder in these tech companies and maybe even other companies as well. Now, according to Investopedia, one of the top investment publications out there, nearly 75% of US seekers fear job security is declining, but still feel safe in their own roles. So people feel like if you have a job, you're okay, but nearly 75% of US job seekers fear job security is declining. Now, they may be a little biased because these are the people who are looking for jobs. They are already kind of down on their luck and maybe have a more negative sentiment in general, but it shows that the fear is rising. So some of the key takeaways here: American job seekers are telling surveyors that the idea of job security is not realistic anymore. Generally, that's obviously a bad sentiment to have for the general population. Of those surveyed, 73% said job security isn't guaranteed for any job. 71% say that it's becoming a thing of the past. So they think this is possibly going to be the new norm in the way society works in the future because of things like AI and advancements in technology. Now, we had another article come out recently, just a couple weeks ago, from Axios.com, saying the job market gloom hasn't been this bad since the Great Recession. So they track kind of like the percentage of these people that either think it's positive or negative, or what they feel about the job market. Well, apparently the percentages are rising in the negative direction. They haven't been close to this sentiment since the Great Recession. So you can see, obviously, we all know how bad 2008 was, and that is basically where we're at right now. We're getting close to that 60+% mark, where 62% of consumers believe unemployment will worsen in the year ahead. So they think it's going to get worse in terms of unemployment, but also job security if you actually have a job. So both of those are going in the wrong direction in terms of consumer sentiment. Now, we went over kind of the sentiment of the average person in America, but now if you look at job creation, so actual job creation by companies is also in decline, like significantly. If you look in 2025, especially the last 3 months or so of data, if you look between May and June of 2025, job creation figures were revised significantly, down by more than 250,000 combined, and you can see below 100,000 on both of those months, where they should be in the hundreds of thousands. And I also saw a statistic about July recently, which you can kind of see on here. July is actually around 75,000. So still, although higher than May and June, still significantly lower than you want to be. The general direction, of course, is trending downward over time, as you can see kind of the direction of this graph. So we're seeing big tech companies laying off managers, as well as there's plenty of other tech companies. I didn't want to just go over tech company after tech company in this video. Companies like Google are laying off managers. You have consumer sentiment or job seeker sentiment getting close to very concerning levels in terms of how they think the job market is now and where they think it's going in the future. And then you also have job creation on its way down as well. Now, we also have a lot of information that came out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics recently. This was around August 1st, 2025. So obviously this is the United States Department of Labor. This is directly from the government. Now, we've already been over this graph right here, basically talking about employment, job creation. You can see kind of a similar graph to that, although it's a little bit different because it's non-farm payroll employment. But if you look at chart 1 here, unemployment rate seasonally adjusted July 2023 to July 2025. So since July 2023, in the past 2 years, unemployment has gone from about 3.5% and up to around 4.25%. Now, luckily, it hasn't changed too much in July. So the most recent full month of data as of this being created, this was again posted in August. They didn't see a huge rise in unemployment in July, so that's good at least. But the scary part is the overall sentiment in general. It might have higher and lower months, but generally if the graph is kind of trending downward and you have sentiment among job applicants trending downward, it's obviously a recipe for possibly a recession. Now, another thing to point out here is long-term unemployment. So in July, the number of long-term unemployed, those jobless for 27 weeks or more, increased by 179,000 to 1.8 million. The long-term unemployment accounted for 24.9% of all unemployed people. So one other problem is not only is unemployment seemingly rising, even though it's not super high yet, and sentiment is getting worse, but you also see that when people are out of a job, they're having a hard time finding one in a short period of time. A lot of people, you can look at Reddit, you look at all the subreddits for career advice or career guidance or job search hacks, things like that, where people are talking about they've been unemployed for 6 months, a year, 2 years or more. They can't even get a job that they got that degree for, that they used to do at another company. They can't get the same jobs anymore. And it's going for longer and longer periods of time. So it seems more like the raw numbers of unemployment and jobs are not at super alarming levels yet, although they are trending in the wrong direction. I think the sentiment is getting worse faster than the actual lack of jobs is. So that's also concerning, as people are really worried. If we have some more down months coming in the future, people are going to be demanding some sort of changes, whether in the government or from companies, to help address this issue of AI, tariffs, etc., affecting the workforce.